Good morning. Welcome to our coffee and conversation. My name is Karen, and I'm one of your recovery coaches.
Good morning, I'm Craig. Glad to meet you. I'm also a recovery coach.
Good morning, I'm Mike, recovery coach.
Just a reminder, Recovery on Wheels will be out tomorrow in Millville at the mini park across from City Lakers from 10 a.m. to 2.
Come on out.
Our December recovery spotlight is out. Please share some encouraging words on our Capital Recovery Facebook page.
Please do. What else we got this month?
I'm not sure, man. We had a good time yesterday at the Violent Police Station. We had the road bus out there. We had quite a few visitors that came by. And so, like always, you're welcome to come out and ask and seek help from whoever it may be that needs help.
That's right. We are here for the community of Cumberland and the surrounding areas. All right, what we got here? Welcome, coffee and conversation. Make sure you share this live we have here. And if you're on YouTube, you can share it on YouTube as well. So what we got today? Oh, we're going I pretty much figured, leading up to the holidays, we're going to do a couple of different lessons dealing with tips for staying sober during the holidays. So we're going to do, we did a brief part of it last week, and we're going to go into it at least today, and Thursday possibly. And because it's very important, I believe, during these times of the holidays, due to not just the COVID pandemic and stuff we've been going through, it's been real difficult for every holiday season. So we're going to go over a few tips and elaborate from there. And prayerfully, you'll be able to get something out of this. We got this lesson from,
The Liberty Branch.
Thank you. LibertyBranch.com. The link is in the description tab on either platform is in there. The link is in there on a platform on Facebook or YouTube. So let's see what we got. For those in recovery, the holidays can be especially trying time. Despite the many challenges, staying sober during the holidays is possible. Yes, it is. In order to avoid the pitfalls and manage holiday season triggers, it's important to plan ahead and prepare for potential obstacles. So, preparing for obstacles that will arise, I believe, in every situation. Some of them you might be able to avoid, and some of them you won't be able to avoid. I'm so on it.
So one of the old adages, either you prepare to plan or you plan to prepare.
It's good stuff.
So let's get into number one and we'll see what we
got here, man.
Number one, prepare sober strategies ahead of time. Given how stressful the holidays can be, it's important to plan ahead and think about how to respond to difficult situations one may encounter. Once the stress has already set in, thinking clearly can be much more challenging. It says, once the stress is already set in, it can be far more challenging. So prepare yourself. For this reason, it can be helpful to begin the holidays with a set of prepared strategies, thinking through situations. That's number one, events. Two, and interaction that may trigger cravings or negative emotions can help you prepare healthy responses that prioritize your sobriety. You may even want to write out a list ahead of time. For example, if you know family dinners are triggering, it can be helpful to know when and where to find nearby NA or AA meetings. And if you know yourself, and you know yourself better than I know you, we know you, and you know that you go over to Uncle Charlie's house and they like to indulge in some libation, things of that nature, alcohol beverages. Listen, prepare yourself. You know, if you feel that triggers is coming on, have a list of NA and AA lists available. Also, reach out to your recovery coach.
That's right.
I am one of them.
Call us up.
And if I'm able to give you any type of advice, I hope it's positive advice. And so prepare yourself, because I know, you know, a lot of times, you know, we want to be part of the party. You know, we want to be, you know, and be a part of the joyous festival occasion. But at times, sometimes we have to be more disciplined, and we have to really take our sobriety real serious.
So preparing for those strategies ahead of time. Don't wait for them to happen. Most of them you can almost script it during the holidays, because you know what house you're going to, you know your family members, or you know the environment that you're going into. So you can already prepare a strategy to implement when something happens. When this happened, I'm gonna do this. When this happened, I'm gonna do this. You got to have those already in place instead of waiting until something happens and then say, what I'm going to do. So when you got prepared sober strategies ahead of time, these are, you can have more than one for different occasions. You know what I mean? Because if the first one don't pan out, or say you got somebody that you call when you are triggered, say that person's busy with somebody else talking to them, and you can't get them. What's your next plan? You know what I mean? So you can have more than one strategy for different scenarios or different situations.
And also, further on, Reed said, also consider keeping recovery materials such as books, podcasts, videos, and journals on hand if you find them helpful. That way, when craving hits, you will be ready to respond. At events and parties, keep a glass of soda or juice in your hand so people will be less likely to offer you a drink. Also, it's always good to have a backup plan, like Mike was saying. It's scripted, or an exit strategy prepared in case something goes wrong and you feel concerned about your recovery. Remember, right now, your sobriety is a top priority.
Number one priority. With technology today, it's hard for me to listen to somebody and say they couldn't learn something. Now, spending the time to learn, I can accept that. But to say I can't learn this, I can't do this, I can't do that. It's so much stuff on technology, YouTube, Google. So when you are in need of something, like when you're preparing different strategies, you can look up different strategies that you can possibly use. You can search it out, you know what I mean, and find how to implement those strategies. You don't always have to use the strategy that I use. You can always find your own particular strategy. All right, where we at? Number 2, know how to recognize and avoid triggers. Thanksgiving, Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, New Year's are wrought with triggers, making staying sober during the holidays especially challenging. Indeed, it is likely that you will be exposed to some triggers during this time. If you can, avoid unnecessary ones. But some triggers may be unavoidable. I was just saying that some things you can avoid and some are unavoidable. Do your best to identify potential triggers ahead of time. This will allow you to prepare a response rather than being caught off guard. For instance, if you know your judgmental aunt makes you feel ashamed, it's okay to avoid engaging in conversation or to excuse yourself. If you think a situation will put your sobriety at risk, there is no shame in, what's that word? Extricating yourself or simply declining to discuss sensitive subjects. Just, brush it off. In some cases, you can't plan ahead, but you can still equip yourself with a set of general responses that help you manage your emotions and navigate the trigger late in holidays. Yo, when you know your particular surroundings, some places I might don't like their mouth, but I love their food. So I'm gonna make me a plate and I'm gonna get up out of here. I ain't leaving the food, man.
You know how we do.
So sometimes you might go to your place, a particular place, like this example said, you have a judgmental person there. That's all right. I ride around with the white styrofoam things in my car. Listen, let me get my plate, and I'm out of here. So you might have to do that though to avoid certain things that might trigger you. Because if you're going to get into a confrontation, with someone that might trigger you to go back and use, remember you're the most important person in the equation. Always remember.
Number 3 is be aware of your limits. With all the holiday activities, it is easy to get carried away and find yourself in uncomfortable, difficult situations that test your sobriety. It's important to check in with yourself regularly during this stressful period to see how you are feeling, especially when you are in triggering situations. Stop and ask yourself what is going on with your emotions, mind, and body. Try and put labels on the emotions and feelings so that you take stock and can respond rationally. Also, don't forget to get rest and eat well. Being tired or hungry can make a person quite irritable and lead them to make rash decisions. If you can, think ahead of time about the situations and circumstances that might compromise your sobriety and set limits for yourself and behaviors you will tolerate from others. For example, if you are at a party where everyone seems to be extremely inebriated or is pushing alcohol on you despite the fact that you have declined, you can ask them to please respect your decision or simply leave.
Get up out of here.
Call someone. Call someone if you know that's also maybe in sobriety as well. And, have a conversation or go outside for some fresh air. Go for a walk and then come back. And that gives you enough time to regroup, regather, and clear your thoughts. Like the article says, get a lot of rest because you don't want to make no rash decision at that time. And sometimes when we do make rash decisions, they don't be the right ones for us.
You gotta get a lot of rest and our decision making. If we're exhausted and we ain't getting enough rest, our decision making will be very cloudy. So it's important. Let's move.
Yeah, because you're already what they call it, hangry.
Yeah.
You don't want to get hangry.
Yeah.
That's a 2-word combination.
Hungry and angry.
Hungry and angry. Number 4, prioritize your recovery. Remember, your sobriety is your top priority. Yeah. Without it, you won't be a good child, sibling, partner, parent, or friend to anyone. Let me read that again. Remember, your sobriety is your top priority. Without it, you won't be a good child, sibling, partner, parent, or friend to anyone. This means taking time for yourself when you need it, even if others object. Although disappointing people is not fun, you have to practice self-care, all right, and protect your well-being first and foremost. Otherwise, you won't be able to show up for others in the ways you intend to. When it comes to making a decision between the holidays and recovery, your sobriety should always come first. Some people say, "Oh, you've been selfish. Oh, you just only think about yourself. You use pooper or use party pooper.
Party pooper.
Party pooper.
You're messing up the party, man.
Yeah, you're just messing up the party. That's all right. You don't have to always fit in. Just remember, you are made to stand out. Woo! So this, let people know that you're working on some things and it's very important to you. And hopefully they will come around and see your way of doing things.
Yeah, that's true. Number 5, what we got here? Nancy Reagan with the Nikes on. Say no. Nancy got her Nikes on. Hey, saying no is not easy, but it's important to be able to do so, especially during the holidays when many feel pressure to attend events and be with family and friends. For instance, your parents may try and guilt you into attending a relative's event, even though you know the situation will be triggering and threatening your sobriety. It is okay to decline an invitation or avoid situations that you aren't prepared to handle. Even if others are upset about it, they'll get over it. Although it can be scary, being in touch with your needs and setting personal boundaries around them will have a positive impact on well-being and your relationship in the long run. Setting personal boundaries is not crossing. Saying no is basically you protecting yourself from going against something that you have already set in place. Um, as you get more comfortable in the new life that you are living away from all the substances and alcohol, it'll become more easier to say no. Because you're starting to enjoy the new life that you have. I know in my life, my personal recovery walk, it was harder saying no early. But the later I got on, I got more focused on prioritizing my recovery. Like, you know what? When I'm going through all that, the people who keep trying to get me to go to these places and anything, knowing it might not be in my favor, they ain't gonna be nowhere around. So I started prioritizing what I do, where I would go, what I would say, and everything. You just have to be accustomed to saying no. And a lot of times, people do find it difficult to say no. Really, like it's. I really don't have that issue. I always say, my wife, I say, hey, just say no. She said, no, I don't want to. You know, you telling me no, but sometimes it's difficult to say no.
Number 6 is get support. Having a support system is critical to the recovery process, especially during difficult and emotional times. If you know that parties or family events are especially triggering and make you want to relapse, try bringing a sober and supportive friend along with you to help ground you. Also think about people close to you that you can lean on and talk to when you are struggling. Be it a parent, friend, relative, sponsor, or someone else, it's always good to have a few people to reach out to when things are hard. Sometimes something as simple as talking about your feelings can go a long way. Also, it can be helpful to let those you trust know that this time of year is hard for you and ask for extra support ahead of time. If you can be clear about what you need from them, even better. That way, the person can know how to best be there for you as you manage the holidays and recovery.
Let those you trust know that this time of year is hard for you. You ever know? A lot of times people experience certain times of year where it'd be hard for them when they suffer the death or somebody who passed on. You know, all through the year they'd be good, but certain parts of, of that year it'd be hard for them. You know, for whatever reason, that time is associated to whatever that person. It's the same thing with your recovery walk. Certain things and certain situations just be difficult at those particular times. But you have to let those people you trust know. You know, it's nothing personal against you, but during this particular time, I always did that and third. You know what I mean? You gotta let them know and get support from people who are in your corner, and not necessarily everybody you think gonna be in your corner gonna only be family members. You're gonna have a whole list of people who support you that's outside of your family circle.
And this also touch on, I was just sitting there thinking, not only your sobriety, but it also helps you prepare socialization skills.
Yeah.
Because if you're a person that constantly used to socialize, or you felt that you was the end part of the in crowd under the influence, and now that you're not under the influence, now you feel like an outcast. So you have to learn how to distinguish that and know that these are socialization skills that you need to learn to be able to cope and be able to communicate and be effective without the substance. So right, you don't need that, that stuff in you, to be strong, to be bold, stand up for yourself. Like Mike said early on, it was a struggle for me as well. God came along, I call myself being strong. As soon as he whipped that stuff out, it's over. My knees buckle. But now, I stand on my own 2 feet as a man and say, I don't need it. And so, no thank you. Nancy Reagan?
Nancy Reagan.
All right.
It's all right.
Number 7. Create new memories and traditions. For many in recovery, the holidays are filled with reminders of overdrinking, binges, and heavy drug use. Some dread this time of year, paralyzed by fears of having to face judgment and scrutiny without the aid of drugs and alcohol. On top of that, the financial costs associated with the holidays add an extra layer of stress, especially when we don't have it and we trying to make ends meet.
Yeah.
On top of being cheerful, giving, it can be stressful. Despite all of these negative associations, the holidays can become a positive time. Now that you are in recovery, you can take the holidays back and create new memories. Take the opportunity to develop healthier holiday traditions that don't involve drugs and alcohol. Some ideas include watching a marathon of your favorite Christmas movies, finding your signature holiday dish, or holding a Christmas cookie bake-off. That way you can take the negative power of the holidays away, instead focus on yourself, your community, and your loved ones. This time of year, me as a person in recovery, I enjoy putting up the Christmas tree, decorating it.
Okay.
And it gives me a sense of relief. It gives me, especially the finished work, decorating on the outside. And I look at my neighbor's house and their homes and all the beautiful lights. And it's just a beautiful time for me, so that I created new memories before I don't even think about a Christmas tree.
New memories.
New memories.
You can always create new memories each day. When you create those memories, they're yours. So in order for you to create new memories, you got to do things different. I mean, you can have traditions too that pass down from one person to the next, but creating new memories is always awesome. And that goes by you doing something else. So, let's see what we got here. Be of service during the holidays. Giving back and helping others is another way that those in recovery can create positivity while staying sober during the holidays. Being of service is a core tenet of the 12 steps. It is also a great way to honor both the holidays and recover from addiction. Serving people in your life and community allows you to feel good about the contribution you are making while helping others. Also, it keeps you focused on something other than drinking and using drugs. Try volunteering. I did that this weekend. Try volunteering at soup kitchen, organizing an online toy drive, doing something nice for someone you care about, or simply thanking them for how they've helped you. By focusing on being of service to others, you can change what the holiday means to you. So be of service during the holidays. Give back. Always look for opportunities to volunteer your time, volunteer your service. That time is very precious, because that's something that no matter how much money you have, you can't buy more time. The billionaire or the broke person, there's no possible way. So your time that you give to somebody is very precious. It's something that you can never, ever get back. So where we at? Number 9.
Set boundaries. It was my turn here, right?
Yes.
Set boundaries with pushy people.
Okay.
There's a lot of shame and guilt associated with addiction and alcoholism. During this time of year, we may find ourselves surrounded by pushy friends or judgmental relatives who don't understand the process of recovery. Staying sober during the holidays should be your number one priority. And as such, it's important to plan ahead for those unpleasant encounters. You may want to come up with a short elevator speech for when curious people ask about your life. That way you will be prepared to respond with the information that you feel comfortable sharing. Remember, your recovery journey is your own, and you can share as much or as little as you want. Although a prying cousin or uncle may push for more details, that does not mean you have to share.
Set boundaries. Judgmental relatives who don't understand the process of recovery. Also forgive them because they don't understand too. Because sometimes their lack of knowledge of what you're going through, the process you're going through, puts them in basically in a disadvantage. Because I remember my wife used to be like, "Well, why don't you just don't do it?" And I said, "That is a beautiful idea." because they didn't understand the process of the drug, the craving I had for the drug once I was addicted to it. So, but you have to forgive them, even though they're judgmental. I recommend forgiving them, I think, because they don't actually know what's going on through that process. And also offer them to go to a family session. That's a good time to offer them to go to one of the family sessions with your counselor, your sponsor, or with someone, and then they probably don't get educated in 1 hour, but they can get some type of understanding that what you're going through and your recovery walk.
And also, don't allow people to have you live in the past. You know, be proud of the steps that you're making, and just know that you're turning over a new leaf and that there's a brighter future ahead. Because a lot of times people try to put us back in a box, push us in a corner, saying that you'll never amount to nothing. Those are negative thoughts of theirs, but they don't have to be ours. All right?
And don't embrace them. If they just because I was taught, my mentor said, whatever he say about me is one thing, but what really matters is what I say about me. Mm-hmm. So you remember, he can say I'm good or bad, but I gotta just remember or focus on what I say about me. As long as I'm giving myself self-positive affirmations, then that's the thing that's going to retain. If I'm sitting around, oh, I'm stupid. Well, more than likely, you ain't gonna pass the test because you keep telling yourself you're basically stupid. So you got to feed yourself positive affirmation no matter what others say about
you. And 10, get help if you need it. Just because you are sober, it doesn't mean that your recovery journey has ended. Sometimes we feel our sobriety slipping or even experience a relapse. If you are nervous, staying clean and sober during the holidays, going to a treatment program or sober living facility may be a smart solution.
It's not a bad idea.
Not a bad idea.
If you already feel, man, I'm gonna be nervous around these holidays, go to a program, call us. You can always welcome here. Remember, you can always get in touch with us at Capital Recovery Center. We're here for you. If you feel as though you're nervous during the holidays, reach out to one of the coaches here, and we'll be able to link you up to some resources.
And there's a bonus tip.
What we got?
Number 11. You want to read that, Mike?
All right. Be proud of yourself and recognize what you have accomplished. One key concept of recovery is taking things one day at a time. This means focusing on not on a year or 10 years from now, as that can feel overwhelming. The holidays season can be hard and lead one to feel bad about where they are in life or what they have yet to accomplish. Feeling alone during the holidays can make it easy to focus on what you don't have. On the other hand, running into relatives bragging about their careers or their children's accomplishments can lead to similar negative feelings and self-judgment. First, it's important to remember that everyone deals with their own struggles. I'm going to stop right there.
All right. That's good enough for me.
Everyone deals with their own struggle. So today we went over tips for staying sober during the holidays. These are tips that are just things that we have come over. You might find a list of tips that you can use or share with us. You can leave them in the comment section, some more tips, and let us know about those. And then we probably can reread them on Thursday on our live. If you leave any tips for the holidays in our comment section, we'll go back to the video and we'll read out your tips and along with your name. Thank you.